Welcome to the gorgeous French Alps. We are in the very famous and apparently very fancy ski resort town of Courchevel. And over the coming 3 days, I'm gonna show you what there is to do in this town. So come and join me for a winter adventure. Before we begin the adventure, let me quickly explain how I got here. The easiest way to reach Courchevel is by car, but there are also various public transportation options. As such, you can get direct buses from Lyon, Geneva and Moutier. The latter also has a train station with connections to many larger cities in France. I actually got here from Lyon by ride-sharing and I used a platform called BlaBlaCar. The journey from Lyon took about 2 hours and I paid 22 euros. So we are now in Courchevel Le Praz, which is one of the lower parts of the ski resort. And yeah, today is my first day, so I'm gonna go explore a bit and then tomorrow we'll hit the slopes. Now the ski resort of Courchevel actually spans across 5 towns, all located at different altitudes. The easiest way to summarize them is the higher the fancier. The ski area, however, is much bigger. The 5 Courchevel towns are part of the Trois Vallées or Three Valleys, which is the largest interconnected ski resort in the world with over 600 kilometers of runs. As such, the Three Valleys comprise Courchevel, Méribel, Les Menuires, Val Thorens, Brides-les-Bains, Saint-Martin-de-Belleville and Orel. Le Praz is probably the most laid-back and also the most traditional out of the 5 Courchevel towns. It is located at 1300 meters above sea level, making it the second lowest Courchevel town. You'll find plenty of picturesque wooden chalets and small shops here. The town has direct access to the slopes, but most of the ski areas are much higher up. And in case you're wondering, I filmed this in early March, so it wasn't full-on high season, and it was still snowy in Courchevel, but not really down here. So yeah, Le Praz here is very quaint and rather quiet, but now I am heading up to Courchevel 1850 and I do have a feeling that we're gonna find a very different scene up there. There are 3 shuttle buses connecting the different towns of Courchevel, but I actually saw quite a few people hitchhiking, so instead of waiting for the bus, I tried it out myself and within 10 minutes someone gave me a ride up to Courchevel 1850. We are now in Courchevel 1850 and yeah, the vibe up here is rather fancy. We got a lot of very expensive boutiques here. All the international luxury brands, and then of course chalets, 5-star hotels and restaurants. And we even have a little church here. I guess you gotta pray that the stock market doesn't collapse.
And the gondolas have Montclair ads on them. That shows you that this is a rather upscale town.
So that was Courchevel 1850, the fancy part of town. And yeah, I'm not actually staying here. My accommodation is further down in a different part of Courchevel. And I'm gonna head back there now, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow when we hit the slopes. Talking about accommodation, one of the main reasons why I came to Courchevel in the first place is that a friend of mine owns a chalet here, and they very kindly let me stay there for a few days. It is located in Courchevel 1550, one of the smaller towns that sits between Le Praz and 1850. I can't show you the actual chalet because it's a private holiday home, but I found one that looks kinda similar, so that's the one you are seeing right now. The chalet where I was staying has several guest rooms, which they use whenever they have people staying over. Everything is quite basic, but as I'm lodging here for free, I am certainly not gonna complain. If you don't have a friend who owns a chalet here, you'll be looking at 100 to 150 euros for basic rooms in the lower Courchevel towns. Courchevel 1850 is obviously much more expensive. The good thing is that as long as you avoid the school holidays, it isn't hard to find something because the offer is vast and you have the 5 Courchevel towns plus the other stations in the Three Valleys area to choose from. And finally, the friend who owns the chalet also provided all the gear that I needed, so I didn't have to rent anything, but I checked some shops and they were charging 30 to 50 euros per day to rent skiing equipment. But yeah, as you probably know, skiing isn't a cheap activity in general. It is now day 2 here in Courchevel and I am on my way to the slopes. On my first day of skiing, I will cover some parts of the Courchevel ski area, and then on the second day, we'll head over to the Three Valleys. The ski pass is 72 euros per day for just Courchevel and 79 for the entire Three Valleys. Considering that this is the biggest ski resort in the world, the lift pass is actually pretty good value if you use it to the max. Alright guys, we are now on the slopes here in Courchevel, and yeah, there are runs for every level, beginner, intermediate and advanced. So no matter how good of a skier you are, you will not get bored here. There are hundreds of kilometers of slopes. And yeah, I won't be able to try out all of them, but I'm gonna cover a fair few because I got 2 full days of skiing ahead of me. So yeah, let the fun begin.
Alright, skiing down a red slope now, which is intermediate difficulty. And yeah, overall, there are a lot of intermediate runs here. Not too many advanced black runs, but I think this part of Courchevel is very well suited for intermediate skiers. So as we are on this chairlift here, let me tell you a little bit about my skiing history. I've been skiing pretty much all my life. The first time I went skiing was at the age of 3. I was very fortunate because my parents both loved skiing. And so during my childhood and teens, I went skiing at least once a year. And yeah, in my adult life as well. I am from Luxembourg, for those who don't know. And so I went to Austria most of the time, various places in Austria. I went to Switzerland a few times as well, and then also Italy and Poland as well last year. And before this trip right here, I had only been to a French ski resort once, and that was Val Thorens, which is right next to here. I guess I just always enjoyed the Austrian culture, everything around the skiing, a bit more than the French equivalent. But yeah, it doesn't matter where you go in the Alps, the slopes are always great. It's more about the culture and experience around the skiing trip. That is where it's a bit different.
As my first day of skiing is coming to an end, let me show you one of the most incredible locations in Courchevel, the Altiport. Located at an elevation of over 2000 meters, it is one of the highest and also one of the most dangerous airports in Europe. Its runway is only 537 meters long and it has a gradient of 18.6%. As such, only small aircraft like Pilatus and Cessna can land here, and only one company, namely Alpine Airlines, offers commercial flights. During my visit, the airport was actually closed because of a fashion show. How fitting. Fortunately, a friend of mine was here a few weeks earlier and he captured this footage for me.
C'est hyper dangereux. Faut que tu lèves. Sur les brosses.
On my third and final day, I decided to check out some of the other ski resorts in the Three Valleys region. As such, I went to Val Thorens and Méribel, where there are literally hundreds of runs to choose from. All the resorts within the Three Valleys region are connected by gondola and chairlift, so you can ski anywhere without ever having to take a bus. I also stopped at the Folie Douce, which is one of the most famous party locations here, but there wasn't much going on in the early afternoon. Every station in the three valleys has its own particular features, but I found Val Thorens to be by far the most crowded. And the weather wasn't the best on my second day skiing, but I still had a lot of fun.
The main trouble is that I can't see the surface of the slope very well. So I can't go fast because I don't know what's coming. If I can see far ahead, then I can go full speed because I know what's coming. But here, it's a little bit better now, but it is still very difficult to see anything. Alright guys, last run here in Courchevel. I'm gonna head back into town now because it is just too foggy on the higher slopes. I wanted to head back to the top and do a few more runs, but yeah, I decided against it, so I'm gonna call it a day.
Now, as our time in Courchevel is coming to an end, I also wanted to show you some of the meals that I had. As a rule of thumb, the closer you get to the slopes, the pricier the meals become. But there are plenty of options and not all of them are outrageous, like this farm restaurant here, which was one of my favorites. I also got quite a few meals from the supermarket because I had a kitchen in my chalet. That's undoubtedly the most budget efficient option. It is now time to sign off. I really enjoyed my 3 days here, especially the skiing. The fact that you have 600 kilometers of slopes at your disposal makes this one of the best places in the world for winter sports. The Three Valleys region is also quite diverse. You have the ultra fancy Courchevel 1850, but other villages are a lot more down to earth. And finally, there are also plenty of things to do here if you don't ski, such as hiking and wellness. As always, thanks very much for watching and see you in the next one. Goodbye.